we live? Hi. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody who's celebrating everything. Uh, it's 2023. This is our first stream of the year. We had to skip last week's. Mabel was not feeling well, and I was not feeling well enough to be live on the internet um, as a result. And as you can see this week, she's done a pretty big turnaround. Yeah, she wants the cabbage. As you can see, here is her little treat. This is not the first one that she's had of 2023. Last time I gave her a quarter of a cabbage, she ate the whole thing. I didn't even have to clean it up. So I'm excited to see what she does with this one. Okay, you want this? Can you ask nicely? Can you say please? Can you give me your paw? Thank you. Okay, here, take it. Yeah, there you go. I wanted to say thank you to, there was a lot of people that sent messages about Mabel, and I really, really, really appreciate that. Her barking to me in this room, it like sends shivers down my spine. So it hurts me a little bit. But there was a lot of people that actually said that it creates time markers, and like you can remember where I am in the video. So I think that's really cool. So I'll try to not internalize it as much, but that's gonna be my challenge, not yours, apparently. Yeah, and so today, last year, we finished Kadence. I have to still make Kadence available online somewhere. I said that I was gonna do that. I still want to do that. I just haven't figured out what the best method for me to do that is, whether it's Gumroad or my website or whatever. So that's in the works. It's going to happen. It's going to be available really soon so that you can have something to compare in real life as you are working. I think that's a really important part when you're learning a new skill. And so that will be available to you eventually. But this year, since the first view is done, which is most of the time, most of the work, and just to give a general time frame, the first view usually takes the longest, mainly because you have to draw all the drawings. You have to break it apart, and then you have to set all your deformers, set all your pivot points. That doesn't take that much time. And then once you get your first view done, all the engineering, all that stuff, once you have your first view done, it starts to fly. So today we're going to be working on the quarter front view, which I'm pretty excited about because one, that's the view that everybody wants to use. That's the most popular view in any rig. Your quarter front view gets the most mileage, obviously. And two, it's the easiest one to build. Like once we're done the front view, the quarter front view just flies. And I really like, especially if I've struggled with the front view, getting to the quarter front always feels like a little celebration. So something that I kind of want to share, this is, and I found this while I was cleaning and I was like, oh my god, I'm a hoarder, why do I have this? But something that I wanted to share, I don't know, I put the jar, I have a shelf up there and I've got the jar up there, but when I was a supervisor, one of the tactics that I used to celebrate little things, and I was always trying to get my team to celebrate little things, and with rigging, it can become such a frustrating process, so you're always looking for the little things to celebrate, but one of the things that I wanted to bring into this year was that little habit, and so here I have the actual confetti that I that I kept because I love confetti. And so new year, new habits. We get to throw confetti because we're doing something cool. We're getting into the next view, and so this is, by the way, this is large confetti because it's easy to pick up and clean up. So this confetti will not go to waste. It goes back in the little confetti bin. But when we hit little milestones like this, I'm going to try to remember to celebrate them. So this was a little trick. It was just fun, a little fun thing on the floor. I forget what, it was part of like a wheel. I actually created a wheel. I think it was a wheel of revisions. So when you handed in your rig, you had to spin the wheel of revisions, and one of the options was throw confetti at a friend. So, so anyway, that's it. So now I'm covered in large confetti, but that's a fun thing to clean up for later. So yeah, hello. Hey, film who wasn't there. Dropping by. Yeah, no worries. Nice to see you today. Happy New Year. Please spread that word on your side of the world. But yeah, we're gonna get into this quarterfront rig and start building. So hang on, let me go to gameplay. Check on Maybel. Maybel's doing well. Shredding cabbage. There we go. There it is. You guys saw my messy desktop. Okay. So here we are. So in our timeline, that was one of the last things we did. We cleaned up our timeline. And so we have our first view poses all the way over, starting at frame 20. We will be moving those over as we go, but for today, all we really need to worry about is the front view and the quarter front view, and I'm going to show you how I do this part. And also, something to keep in mind is, I've mentioned this at the very beginning, we're not really turning this character into, sorry, we're not turning this character into a 360 master controller turnaround, but you kind of can. So that's your big hint if you wanted to practice that on your own. I'm not getting into master controllers with Kadence, but if you wanted to, the method that I'm about to show you, it's the first step. So you can still kind of start to practice and get into that. Hello, Toontastic. Nice to see you're working on a basic rig right now. Oh, sweet. Awesome. Well, that's cool. If you got any questions, feel free to throw those off. Oh, another thing about questions. This is something else that happened over the break. I got a couple messages from people that were watching outside of Twitch on the YouTubes. And someone mentioned that all my settings are set to kids content, which means you can't post. So I've been asking for comments, I've been asking for feedback, and to see, it's a good marker for if I'm unclear here, then I can be a little bit more clear in another video, or I can make a spin-off video, whatever. But anyway, somebody said that my content was set to kids and they couldn't post, so I've changed all that. I don't know why I was doing that. I think that I was thinking that it was better somehow. But it looks like I was just blocking you all from commenting. So hopefully that means that this year is the year of comments and feedback for me, whether it's get your dog to stop barking, or get your dog to start barking more, or we want to see more Maybel, or you're talking too fast, whatever. Drop it in the chat and I'll try to do my best. Can't please everyone. That's the number one rule of rigging. That's the number one rule that I've learned. So my mom would say, don't yuck someone's yum. So, get your dog to start barking more. I mean, who knows? Like, that's your chapter, right? So maybe somebody can understand her better than I can. But yeah, all right. So we're getting into the quarter front view. Where's my mouse? Not my mouse, my pen. There we go. All right. Let me save. Okay, so the first step is we're still going to be rigging this character in the order of the rotation. So you always want your front view to be first frame. And again, this is going to change really depending on what studio that you're working at, and how your build supervisor wants things, or like your future build supervisor if you're just a student who's just practicing. But again, these are just really good practices, and this is what I bring, and I think that it's a general standard, but it's not the ultimate rule. You really have to remember that there's so many ways to do things in Harmony, but I think this is a very well-rounded standard for everybody. So the first frame, we want to have the front view. That's, you're building that front view on the first frame. You might as well keep everything cemented in place. And then what I like to do, I usually go every 5 frames. I'll do a view depending on what it is that I'm actually trying to build. In this case, I think every 5 frames will be good, and you'll see why. But you can do every 10 frames. Sometimes I like to mark it especially if I'm just starting. Like if when I was just starting, I liked to use the natural markers in the timeline, and that kept me organized. So if that helps you stay organized, feel free to do that. You can build your quarter front on frame 10. I'm gonna do it on frame 5, and then my profile view will be on frame 10. Um, but again, if you're just starting out, if you're getting familiar with the tools, feel free to do that on frame. Do all your views on each 10 after 10 frames. Um, so all right, so frame 1 I have here. Frame 2 or frame 5, I am going to put. I'm gonna go find. I've already got a key here, so I'm gonna set that key. And what I need to do is I need to bring my design over. So I have to unlock it because I'm pretty sure it's locked right now. It should be. Oh, it's not. Hello. What is it? I'm on the wrong tool. That's why. Okay. And I think I'm going to switch I'm going to put my camera over here and my node view over here. Yeah, because I'm right-handed. All right. All right. So I gotta line up my character. So this is a really important part of the process. It doesn't seem like it is, but you really want your character to rotate on the spot. So you really want to pay attention to where the ankles are. That's what I like to do this by, or the waist, depending on how. Sometimes a character has like a weird bend, or an odd shape. So you kind of want to take that into account. But Kadence is pretty normal in that sense, where it's just a walking carrot. So we want to pay attention to the feet. So we're gonna bring the Kade final design peg. We're gonna move that over. I'm just not that one, not the actual peg. There we go. And I'll show you what I mean. So we're watching the ankles. Whoop, too far. We want the character to rotate on the spot. So here you can see, the monster. She wants more. She's done. No, Mabel, you're done. Come on, take a break. Okay, zoom in. All right, so here we've got our ankle. They're pretty much in the middle, and that's fine. I'm going to show you what it would look like if it was wrong. So if we were to build our character like this, like I've just kind of slightly shifted the whole design over to the left. It just kind of means that instead of our character rotating in a nice like turnaround state, like if they were standing on I don't know what else would it be called, a lazy Susan. But if they were standing on a lazy Susan, a rotating counter, you want those feet to be in place. If they're at the edge of the lazy Susan, you can imagine like the feet would be kind of rotating with it. So you want to avoid that. That's what we're going to try to avoid. So you want to make sure that your ankles are in a good spot. So like this, and then we don't want to touch that. Make sure that design is grab proof. Excellent. And that's it. And you'll see, like, if we zoom out, if we go back to our first design, first of all, our character is lined up in the right spot. And then we go back to frame 5. We've got a little bit of this. You can kind of see that I'm going to bring my Z depth forward just by activating this peg. You can see that we don't have to move the character too much. A turntable, yeah, like a record. I'm not going to do a record thing. A little scratch sound. But yeah, you can see that the character doesn't have to move too much. So that's pretty exciting. Like I said, quarter fronts are a reason to celebrate, because it's like you just did all this work. Now you're about to see the fruits of your labor, but like real quick. So let's jump back in. Let's jump back into the network. And from here, when we get into this part of building. Like as I mentioned, the front view was a whole bunch of parts of the rigging process. We were drawing, setting designs, creating the networks, creating the engines, but now we're animating. We're on our quarter front. We're in our second pose. We're just animating. It's the closest thing to rigging is gonna get to animating, technically. So when you're animating, and when you're getting to this part where you're posing your character out, you always want to work from your pegs, the biggest to smallest. So you'll always see me go from the top to the left. That is the dipping our toes into animating. Yes, you are. Yes, I am. So we'll start at the top, and you can see that your top peg here, because it's at our feet, it's still exactly where we want it. So we don't want to move that peg. That peg can stay, and we're just gonna go down this network, find the peg. If we have to draw a new set of circles, I typically will do that. I think that is an okay peg to be there. So we're just going to jump down the spine. Most of the time, your top pegs, again, if your character's not like, if it's not a strange shape, or like if I think, and I say strange shape, like think of a crocodile. If a crocodile was standing on its hind legs, it would have a long tail behind it, and then it would kind of be hunched over, and then it would have that long face. So that long face, that peg, you're gonna turn it like a turntable. And in fact, rotating long characters like that is my favorite thing to do, because you get that awe factor. Like I love when a character is looking at you and you can't really tell how long it is, and then when it turns, it has like this incredible. That's my favorite thing to create a wow factor. Cadence doesn't have it, but maybe there'll be a reason to build something like that. But that means that a lot of the main pegs aren't going to really move. They're going to stay where they are. I'm just checking them because I'm just going over this. I think that this peg can probably stay where it is. Maybe it can maybe I can push the whole head peg one stop in. I'm not sure. Let's see, and then that's gonna move this peg, this peg, this peg automatically. What's this one? This is for the forehead. We'll leave that. You can also deactivate parts of your rig if you don't want to look. Maybe not that one. If you don't want to look at, like right now we're working on the head, so I can just focus on that. Okay, I've already checked this peg. All right, so the face. I'm a big keyboard person, so I do a lot of this with the keys. But now we're just moving the face peg, and I'm not trying to match up the animation. Like I'm not trying to match up the details. I'm kind of just putting the face peg where I want it. It looks like that's what I'm doing. Like it looks like I'm probably lining up the details, but I'm not. I'm trying to actually put that face peg. I always think of face pegs because I wear glasses. I always think that the face rotates around here. So I just do that. So I'm kind of looking for that spot, and we'll just move down the layers. Again, you want to make sure that you're going big to small, mainly because if you, like, let's say you make a mistake and you put the eye way off, what you can do now is you can reset it, and it doesn't reset everything. So that's kind of the reason why we don't work up to down. It would mean that when you reset everything, it would break. So you want to go big to small. And so let's see, I don't mind leaving that peg exactly where it is. I can go inside this eye. I'm gonna actually deactivate my face real quick so I have a clearer picture. And again, from big to small, I don't need to move these pegs. Eventually, you kind of get to know exactly where you need to, what you need to do, and where you need to go, and what's going to change. I could change my. I could bring this up just a smidgen. That looks like it'll fit. I don't think any of these. I think this is something that goes out of the eye. And once your pegs are in the spot that you want, then you can get into your deformers. So I can turn all of them on right now. I don't think I want to turn them all on. I think I just want these three on. And this is where you can start to kind of trace your design. I like to shift it a little, but not too much. Okay, and that looks good. Just double check to still want to make sure that my pupils in the peg's in a good spot. Okay, and then we can do the other eye. Oh, this one looks like I didn't even set this peg. Looks like I found a mistake. Okay, let's fix this real quick. Let's make sure that nothing else is broken in here. Good catch. All right, so I'm gonna steal the coordinates. I could have sworn that I did this. But I guess I didn't. All right, so in our eye back, we want these coordinates. We don't want. Okay, and then this one, instead of it being, and you can always go to your front view if this is something that's more comfortable. You could go to your front view and change this, mainly because it'll put it right where you need it. Oh, and also I can already see that my deformer points have moved, probably because I didn't set good enough keyframes, so I have to go back and undo those. But that's easy. Okay, so let me see, where am I? I got caught. I got confused. All right, I gotta flip the peg position over. So here, I took the coordinates directly, but all I have to do is change this from west to east, just to change the location, and that's done. And then I need to. Okay, so Kadence. I'm gonna set my keys. You can also. Sometimes I like to jump into the character and set these keyframes. All right. All right, let me go back. So here, do I need to? Can't tell. Let me just, maybe it didn't move. Maybe I just thought that it moved. I think I thought that it moved. Okay, so now I'm on frame 5 again, back on my quarter front. And all I want to do now is go jump into the eye. Again, my eye pivot point should be fine. Oops. And now I'm just going to make some deformer adjustments to match the pupil. And I think good. Do, 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 do. Okay, and then we keep going to the left. So then we've got our blush and the mouth. I'm gonna move it over just a little. It looks like it needs to be just to stay center. I can. Oh, see you. No worries, no worries. Have a good night. Have a good night. Film wasn't there. Okay. And yeah, and this gets pretty repetitive pretty quickly. Like you set your peg and then you put it into position. And as long as you're keeping in that order, you shouldn't run into too many issues. I mean, there's always issues, but that's pretty good. Oh, looks like I forgot to set this peg pivot too, so I better do that one. Look at me finding all my mistakes. Good thing I didn't release it yet. Ha 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 ha. So we'll do that one more time. Although, again, we'll do this on the front view so that we can see it. We're just going to change this to east. And I am going to make a quick, I'm just going to push it over a little bit more to the center. I like to make sure that I do like to make sure that I do that on the front view just to make sure everything's in good spots. But you can always do that in the quarter front view and then go back and check your front view. It's fine. It's usually fine. Okay, now we're getting into a little bit of perspective here with the shrinking of the carrot wrinkles, the whiskers, the dimples. Am I using envelope deformer? Yes, I love envelope deformers. I usually do everything with envelope deformers, even if it's a 2-point deformer. That one is an envelope deformer, but there's two 2-point deformers. But they're all envelopes. Yes. I don't use curve deformers often, even for curves. Okay, and all right, now we're moving over. The mouth, making sure the mouth peg's in a good spot. What is your character that you're building? Fantastic. What is it that you're working on? You said that you were working on I think a basic rig. Is that what you used? Yeah. Look at that. Our mouth doesn't even have to be changed. This is the best. This is the best. With the head peg not having to move, all I have to do is, and again, we want to use, like, if you remember, we set up our front view very specifically so that we could use the deformer points as the details markers, so we know the end of the character's, that overlapping line, that overlay. We know that the deformers should line up with that point, so that's taken care of, so that'll look good. And let's see, I'm working on a rabbit character for my final film. Sweet. I've never come up with a name, so just named Rabbit. You know, I find that names just jump out at you. I do the same. I won't name something unless the name jumps at me. So might be better that way. And then when you know, you know. It just, it like hits you in the face. You only need 2 rig views for this character, so it's quite simple. That's nice. That's I mean, you have to do half the work anyway, or more than half the work to do the front view, the one view. Any other added view is kind of a bonus. So sometimes I find it's much better to make those um, extra views because you're just going to save time. But if you don't need them, you don't need them. It's in animation, it's rare. It's rare unless it's a background character and you're looking for reasons not to build it, which happens. Okay, let's see. My favorite thing working in animation is when I finish on a Friday, I finish a quarter front view, and then on a Monday, all I have to do, or sorry, not, if I finish the front view on Monday morning, I can start the quarter front view, and it's like I can turn my brain off. I come back to work after a weekend, turn my brain off, come back, and then just pose out a character. That to me is like heaven. It's like the easiest Monday. Okay, so the next one. So now we're going to jump over to the next branch. And you can see this is moving pretty quickly. We'll probably get through the whole view today. I'm going to move the hair over maybe a little, just the peg. And again, you're always trying to think like where the root is. So again, this character, you can think of this sprout, the hair as a ponytail. So you want to know and remember where it is in the character's like back of their head. So I'm trying to keep something there. So just trying to envision that it's going to line up right here. And then yeah, we want to make sure that we're not missing any pegs. And as you can see that I did in the last time, which I thought I went over them all, but I guess I didn't. All right, so this one can stay. Maybe move it over a little. And then just, yeah, slowly make your way across from big to small, from left to right. Okay, wait a minute. Should I have rotated the whole thing? Yes, I should have. Okay, let me reset this one. I'm going to rotate this whole piece. Do I need to draw a quarter front view? Well, if you've drawn your front view and you've added deformers to everything, then in the quarter front view, you don't have to draw. you are deforming. Sometimes you have to redraw pieces. We're going to get to that. I don't know if we'll have any pieces to redraw in the quarter front, but we will in the profile. Ooh, Mabel, she just farted. Um, stinks. Oh my god, the cabbage. So no, you don't have to redraw. There's different ways to rig too. So you can move all of your pegs, and then you can redraw all the pieces. That's how we used to do it. We used to draw all the pieces, put our pivot points, and then you get to the next view, you'd move all your pivot points, and then you'd redraw. There's even a way to put pivot points on your drawings so that you don't have to set your pivot points. Your pivot points will like your drawings will automatically revolve around the drawing pivot points, but we don't animate like that. We don't build like that. Don't do that. That's not something that I'm suggesting. This is just a really old way, an old school way of rigging. So there's a whole bunch of ways. So a lot of times in schools, you might not be using deformers. Deformers can be, again, I'm building something that I would use for TV. So drawing swaps, yeah. And actually, Sinclair is going to be getting this rig, so you're going to have that option to see. But animators rely, and animation and rigging now like revolves around deformers. So it's just that they are a next level of learning. So when you're learning at school, deformers might not be your best option, because it makes it a little bit harder, more time consuming. Envelope deformers take, 4 times the amount of work to animate because there's just more points. So it's all there's so many ways. This is just one way. This is just a really good way of learning how to build a character. But yeah, you can absolutely just go in and redraw all these pieces. That's how we used to do it. And anytime you needed to redraw a piece, you just move the peg, put it where you want it, and then redraw. It's just that now deformers make it a little bit easier, especially for the rigging process. It's just that for animation process, it might not be as easy. It's a little bit more time consuming. So yeah, stick to what your teachers want from you for now. I still think that's the best method, especially especially if they are able to help you, because they're your first defense, so you want their help. So stick to what they're asking you to do, because that's kind of what you are going to need, long term, or short term, but eventually, yeah, you'll want to start using deformers and get comfortable and all that jazz. Mhm. Okay, I'm just gonna double check. Yep. I'm just going back just to make sure that nothing is uh, popping out of place. I did set that key. I did go back and set a couple keys. But I still check from time to time just in case something was missed. It's not necessarily impossible for the program to skip a keyframe, especially when you're working with deformers. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens. Okay, that's good. That one's in spot. Oh, I don't know what she's barking at, but I might have to go put some food in her dish, because this is the part of her, whatever she's not feeling well. She lets me know with barks. So she wants my attention. She's very demanding when she's sick. Okay, Mabel, 1 second. Okay, 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, wait a minute. All right. Hang on. Okay, 1 second. I'll be right back. Curve deformers. Yeah, that's perfect. In my opinion, that's for you at school. That's all you need. Get really comfortable with those curve deformers. Hang on, let me get back. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. She was hungry. Um. Okay. What was I saying? Yeah, curve deformers. Yeah. Um. Like curve deformers are like step one. Get really comfortable with curve deformers. Uh, and then when you get to envelope deformers, it's basically like a couple curve deformers in one. So yeah, you really like deformers are gonna become your best friend. You're going to love them. There's just always a little bit of a learning curve when you're learning the software to kind of get to use them. Um, and let me see, where's my peg? And for instance, like you can see that I'm always moving my peg first. That is exactly how you want to kind of think of your order of operations in any situation when you're using deformers too. So, hey, Bass Birdie, no worries, enjoy. Hello, um, talking about deformers a little bit, but yeah, you want to make sure that you're always solidifying your that base. That base is the peg that will always be, and then you can go ahead and animate your deformer. You can. It's really easy to get them kind of confused, and then your deformer starts to migrate really far away from your peg, and then all of a sudden, when you go to rotate something, it's like whoop, 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 like a windshield wiper instead of like this. Um, so that's something that you want to keep an eye on. These are just common things that I see, especially when you're getting into rotating rigs. It's really easy. It's really easy to accidentally just ignore the peg completely and then just be working with the deformer. And then what that looks like is like, let's see if I can move four at once. So all of a sudden it kind of looks like this, but then that defeats the purpose of your peg, right? So, and you can get a lot of movement from the peg. So you want to avoid that. That's kind of what that's kind of what I'm grooming people to do without, I guess, telling them. Except I just told you, so now you know. Happy New Year! Yes, Happy New Year. Yes, Mabel. What do you need? You need more? No, you're done. Lay down. Lay down. I don't have anything. Lay down. Lay down. No, that's it. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Can you lay down? Can you lay down, please? Can you chill out? Lay down. Good girl. Thank you. Stay. Okay, so, alright, so, Peg. Oh, Maybel. This is why we didn't stream last week. I couldn't handle it. Yes? No, lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Go. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Stay. Give him a treat. A little treat bomb for the little peanut. Stay. Stay. Lay down. Good catch. Good catch. Did you see that catch? She caught it. Just go crunch it. Okay. Okay. Alright. Happy New Year to you too, Best Birdie. Let us know what you're working on as well over in the comments if you get the chance. No pressure. No pressure. Did anybody make any New Year's resolutions this year? I'm not really a resolution type person. I'm more of like a constant tweaker. As scary as that sounds. But yeah, super curious. I'm a nail biter, so I used to have nail biting at the top of my resolutions list, probably like 27 years in a row. Oh, is this a... I kind of built this part wrong. If that's a shadow. Do I not have that separated? I don't. Now I have to ask myself, how true to the design do I want to stay? Maybe I'll ask you, how true to the design do I have to stay? Do I change this shadow? I don't know if you can see this, but it's too big, and I didn't make it. I made it in one piece. I didn't make it growable, shiftable. Okay, that looks good. Maybe make this a little bit longer. Okay, so then what I like to do, I've got a couple things I want to change right here. When I get to this part, this is where I feel like the magic starts to happen. You get to check your work, and that to me is like the fun part. So this is when the character starts to come alive, and this is my favorite part. Okay, so let me zoom out of the character for a minute, and I'm just gonna hide the design. Oh, looks like I need to set some cutters here, but let's at least do this. And I'm just gonna set a tween. Set a motion keyframe, and so that's it. We now see our character come into life. So that's Brittany, you're new to today's stream. I should just leave it next to me and just start throwing confetti all the time. But a little celebration. Mabel's like, what are all these treats you're throwing? Sorry, baby. But yeah, this is where we get to see the character come to life. So this is worth celebrating, in my opinion. Okay, lay down. No barking. Woohoo! All right, so once we get there, we can go back to work. No, go lay down. Lay down. No, you're done. Lay down. You've had dinner and 2 treats. Lay down. No. Go lay down. I love you. Go lay down. No, don't give me that face. Look, go lay down. That's it. That's it. Okay. No. Yeah, the tween is the best part. The tween is the best part of the rotation. And what that does is it just makes sure that you are watching everything and like you get a little preview of what it's gonna look like when it animates. That's why I like to turn that motion keyframe on. And especially when you're working with master controllers, as I mentioned, you want to be in total control. So this is a very important part of the step of posing. So that is why I want to make sure that looks good. Which one is this one? This one is the center of the shirt, the bow tie plus the collar. So we're gonna rotate or move this over. There we go. Yeah, we can see it. Yes, the confetti was that's how I used to celebrate in my old team, and I found it while I was cleaning. So I took some confetti out. It's actually from an old concert that I had a blast at, and there was just so much confetti that I took a bunch home with me, and then I brought it to work because I'm a hoarder, closet hoarder. And now we get to make this. One thing that I forgot to mention is if that you are watching this program, if you're rigging along, if you are rigging something and you need help, one thing that I'm going to start up this year is I'm going to be offering once a month drop-in. So it's going to be Thursdays, and I'm calling it Rig Along Help. And it's mostly for if you're rigging Kadence, you can, but if and that will always be the priority, but if you have a rig and you have a problem, you'll be able to book a seat. I'll have the information on my website. I believe it's already up actually, but it's just Rig Along Help. And it's going to be just the last Thursday of the month. I'll do that for the foreseeable future for now. Just to see, just to help out, just to see if that catches on. I can see that people are really watching these, so if you run into a problem and you have a question, if you need more than just like general help if you really run into a problem. I'll make myself available. And that's basically your chance to jump in and get any problem solved. So it could be worthwhile, might not be worthwhile. I'm not sure. Not sure yet. We'll see what it looks like. This month's will be the first one. And that's going to be the last Thursday of the month. I believe it's the 27th. This month. No, the 26th. Yeah, the 26th of this month. So it's in 2.5 weeks. And yeah, just see what that looks like. See if anybody needs that help. Because yeah, rigging can be a little bit of a process, but once you know the steps, it's easy. It becomes easy. And then you want harder rigs. Start to kind of force a little bit of a perspective, like a little round shape on this character just by starting to pop these little deformer handles out a little bit. There you go. I believe that's it for here. What's this one? This one is the bow knot. This is the collar. Collar's a good spot. I think that's okay. Just use the deformers. Great. Oh, looks like I didn't set my both of my arms pegs, so I might. Looks like I didn't set any of these pegs. What the heck? I missed all this. Okay, let's do this real quick. All right, so setting the inside of the or using the inside. What? Hang on. Upper arm sleeve. I did not even name it right. Okay, wait. This is the arm master. And I'm going to copy because I want that information to be exactly the same on the other arm. So let me double check because it's not going to be. There we go. Don't want to risk a typing error. And I think, let's double check, lower arm master. Yeah, looks like I just missed that one peg. Okay, this is set. The arm master is going to go into this one and this one. And I went back to the first frame to do this. Yeah, I totally forgot to set these pegs. All right, so I'm just going to copy over. On the back arm, I'm going to have to change this to east. It's not west. Copy. View. View. It works because I know that I didn't nudge I know I didn't nudge those keyframe or those keyframes that I can see by here. There's only the -1. That just means I've flipped it. I didn't make any nudging. So which I try to avoid the nudges, but I will if I have to. But that's why I know I can just flip the east to west or west to east to give me that clean flip. Do, 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 do. Considered creating the 3/4 view using deformers like that. Yeah, and it is very powerful, and it saves you a lot of time on redrawing too. But it also adds the time to your front view because then you're setting your deformers up. What we used to do, what we used to do to build the ultimate, highest power, heaviest rigs ever, was we would we would rig the front view the way that I've rigged the front view. So we'd do the drawings, do the pegs, do the deformers, do the engines, whatever. And then we'd get to the second view, and then we would create new drawings. And then we would set new deformers. And then every view had new drawings, new deformers, and new headaches, new crashes. Lots of those were the heaviest rigs. Those really were the heaviest rigs. When you're not using deformers, you get away with a lot lighter rigs because the drawing swaps are pretty light in general. But yeah, this is really just the evolution of us getting lazier and smarter and tweaking our way into this. But when you're doing all new drawings, all new deformers, those are really the heaviest rigs. I know that there's studios that still do that. And as long as you've got the computer power to manage that, you can. But this way is really effective, and it's really good for master controllers. This is how you're going to get into master controllers. Really, it's exactly as I'm showing you. So without getting into master controllers, this is how you'd practice. This is how you'd get there. All right, so I've set my pegs. I'm gonna go check my quarter front to make sure that everything's in the right spot. Looks like I gotta move the arms. I'm gonna leave the arms peg in the middle, but my quarter front. And what's nice about having the pegs over the groups, so here I'm just moving my arms and I'm putting them in places. And so what's nice about what I'm doing here, I'm going to pull this down just a smidgen. Is that you can do anything on the inside. So even if I wanted to, went too far. So let's say I wanted to like animate this. God, I'm trying to pop it in front of the body. There we go. I forget which arm this is. I want this one. I want this one. So let's say I want to do this and do this. So let's say I want to animate and put the character and do anything like this. What's going to be nice is if I make a mistake, if I want to change it, I can go inside of the group. I can hit all. I can reset all my pegs. It's going to put everything back in its place. And then I can also reset my deformers. But the position peg is on the outside of the group, so it is not affected. And you can see that the arm is almost in the right spot. I just have to put I forgot to put on my Z depth in the wrong spot. There we go. So something like a little bit more like that. So now, yeah, if you were to reset anything on the inside of your character, it just puts it right back into place, and you it doesn't affect your rotation. So that's kind of the nice thing about having, what would you call it? Having the deformer, no, the group peg. One of the things that people don't like about it though is when they're animating and you are jumping through Let me just, my computer's slowing down. I need a new computer this year, or maybe next year. Hope next year. Next year, please. All right, so, so if you're jumping through the hierarchy and you're hitting B, and you're going through, you really kind of have to know where your top arm peg is, because if you go too far, but what's nice is your peg will disappear. That means you've hit the group. So what I do is I usually actually go use that as a marker and then jump backwards. That's how I do it when I'm animating. Or I'm animating literally by using the pegs in the network. Sometimes I do that too. But that's a nice way. So you don't actually want to animate on these pegs. These ones are really just there to pinpoint your actually, which way does this need to go? Come on. Come on, there we go. Z depth. Okay. I'm gonna make sure I'm at the top of the hand. I'm not watching what I'm doing right now, so better start doing that. Okay. And now I'll go to the other. Oh no, do this one. Okay, now I'll jump to the other arm. I guess I'm not really checking all the pegs, but I should. Make sure I'm going in order, make sure they're all in the right spot. Okay. What are the name? Bouncy, Bouncy Ball, and Olivia Sparkle. That's good. Bouncy Ball. Bouncy Bouncy Ball? Like two names, not just one. Two bouncies. That is fun. Was that a Christmas gift? It's an investment. Having got one, it's enough. Although, fun fact, I was looking into getting a second Mabel. There was one up for adoption one year, a couple years ago. It was literally the week before Mabel started to get sick. So, luckily, I did not commit to a second dog because that would have been a lot of work, a lot of extra work. But very cute. Two, very important, two bouncies, yes. That is very cute. I stole a snack too while I ran to the kitchen. Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't even see that you responded. Um, nice. Class lectures and also making a short film over the next few months. Very cool. Is that one with your students or just for yourself? That is very cool. Always very cool to make your own projects. Obviously, I had the same idea. Not quite a short film, but I don't know what this is yet. Or maybe I do. I don't know. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Let's see. Did I set my pivot points on my legs? Yes, I did. Sweet. So easy. So easy. We're just going to rotate these into place. And then our quarter front is done. We can start our profile view. Look at that. We're going to get so far. Okay. I'm going to, so actually something that I'm going to double check because, not double check, I'm going to kind of go over. We didn't really need to do it for the quarter front view, but I will force it for the quarter front view. So here I can see that because our pivot points are really important, you always want to make sure that things are where they're supposed to be, especially in like the major sockets. The film is for a job. Oh, nice, very nice. Your pivot points are like major sockets, so like hip sockets, shoulder sockets, elbows, wrists, whatever. So you kind of want to make sure that things are always rotating well from there. So in this case, in the knee, it would be more important, especially if I was using the jointed legs for this. But here, and I guess actually, this is where a new drawing could be beneficial. I am going to ignore. I'm not gonna make a new drawing for this. It's not a big enough deal for me. But what I am going to try to do actually is I'm going to reset this, and I'm actually going, instead of rotating it, I'm going to bring the whole leg over, and I think that's how I'm going to deal with that one a little bit. Maybe I'll double check this leg too and see if that's a better solution. So I'm just going to move it over. Yeah, that's a way better solution. It's super minor, but what it does is it keeps the legs connected compared to the design. So I was off a little bit, so now I'm no longer off. And now I can adjust these shoes, which looks like I only want to just do this little loaf of bread. Leave the heel as it is. Okay. Is it part of the school or is it a separate job? I mean, I'm being nosy now. Because that's awesome. Either way, it's awesome. All right, I think we are in a good enough spot. We get to move on now. I don't want to make the heel look like it's popping off the page. I don't want to move it too much. Okay, I think that's good. So now let's double check. Let's see how it rotates. And we'll move to the profile view. And we won't get through to the profile view today. We won't get through the whole thing. But what will be nice is we'll get to a point that next week we'll be doing some engineering in the face. For sure. We will be doing some engineering in the face. So let's see. Let's see how this rotates. Yeah, you can see. Like you can see how it starts to take shape. You can see where if you're working with master controllers, this is where this stuff starts to become really important. Master controllers, you just need a lot more rotation points. So that looks great. Yeah, you can turn that into a little GIF. Okay, so now we'll set our keyframes, make sure that we do that, and then go to frame 10. I'll set another keyframe and bring back our design, make sure that we are moving the design in the proper spot. Again, we want to think about the feet, the ankles. We want to make sure everything's rotating on the heels. I am doing these views one by one, but typically what I would do is I would move the design peg so that I could almost flip through and see the character rotating in the spot, kind of like it's animating on the paper instead of the actual character, but it's okay to do it this way, one at a time. But I find it saves a little bit of time to do it all at once, so I typically do, but I'm not doing it right now. Okay, so now we've got this. We're gonna have fun animating the feet. Okay, so now what we can do is we are tweening, we are motion tweening. And we're going to find a lot of flaws in this view, but I planned for that. It's okay. Separate from school. Cool. No, of course. No, don't say anything else. That's enough. That's it. That's all. That's all we get to talk about. All right, so now we've done that view. Now we're on to our next view. Now we start the process all over again. So I want to double check to make sure that my heels are in a good spot. My heels are going to rotate back a little bit. I could bring my design up a little bit actually. A little more. There you go. And I'm basically just rotating on this heel right here. Make a big jump. Let's see where that puts us. Maybe that's a little too far. Okay. That's good. And I'll do the same thing. I'll just deactivate the parts that I'm not looking at. So that it helps me focus on the parts that I am. Looks like all my pivot points are going to be in a good spot. I'm happy with this. Oh, I don't want to. I want to make sure that that peg is not deactivated while I am animating, because it will actually affect it when I reactivate it. So let's make sure that that one is not turned off. Okay, so now I can start with the face, and again, I always think of this as the bridge of the nose. So the face peg. So here, usually works out almost perfectly. You can see that if I was to rotate this face around, it looks pretty good. Might bring it up a little. There we go. That's the face peg. I better stick to the left side before I get to the, before I start skipping steps. Okay, and I'm happy with where my pivot points are, so I don't need to move those too much. Oh wait, which one is this one? Is this my pupil? This is my pupil. This is not the one I wanted to move. Or is it not my, it is my eye. Okay, so this. The important thing is that when you are going through your character, you want to make sure you're just consistent when you're moving things. You want to kind of move things the same way all the time. So that's probably the hardest part, especially when you're looking at a rig for 2 hours a week. I have to come back next week and remember how I was animating this. So I'm going to try to stay as consistent as possible. And that's the nice thing about checking your motion tweens, is it tends to show right there. So if there's anything that kind of starts to move weird, or that you've kind of lost track of, you can always kind of go back and just double check, or redo something. Sometimes I gotta redo stuff. That's just the way it is. So in this, this might need to be a piece that's redrawn, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slowly animate it to where I want it to be. Oh, Mabel, you stink. Just farts, slow and silent farts. Alright, so I'm animating it to a different shape, and you'll see why I do that when I go back and check the rotation. I won't do that just yet, but I'm going to take care of that step. And now this mouth here needs to be adjusted. We want it to be here. You want to be careful when you're animating backwards on a rotation. We took the face that way, and now I'm taking the mouth this way, which means I'm creating like a backwards effect, which means the computer might fight. It's like adding too many weights on your deadlift for the first time. So we might have to come back and make an adjustment, but for now it should be okay. I'm gonna put this where I want it, and I'll just use the we'll have to come back and make changes to the face and the mouth, mainly because we want to make sure that it's cut. I think I added the cutter, but I didn't actually set it up. So we'll do that probably next week. We won't do that today. Okay, I'm gonna bring this eye closer too, not too close, not that close, and the cheeks and the blush. Let's bring that closer to the face. And then I'll check my rotation. I'm saving every like 5 minutes now because now I'm like, this is when I get annoyed if I lose work, even though it's so easy. So, it's looking good. Okay, that's the mouth. I can move forward. Okay, so I hope I don't regret not making another little chin peg here, or not a peg, a deformer point. Hope that is good enough. Okay, and we might need to play with some, looks like we've got some different overlapping action here, which means that the Z depth is going to change. I'm going to bring the forehead in front of the face, not the face, but like the head. Okay, what's this one? That's that one. Okay, I do want to, let's see, let's put bring this forward, just thinking I need to add this piece right here. This is something that I missed. I know I missed something at the top of the head as well. And the reason why I kind of want to add it right now is because if I push this backwards in Z depth, here we go. That's what that would look like. Then there's Z depth there, and I want it on the. I would want it on the head main peg that also controls this. So I'm gonna undo. I'm gonna reset that peg. I'm gonna make a copy. Control copy. Oh, I made the wrong kind of copy. I just control viewed. So copy. Control B. Again, that's why I like that window. I make those mistakes all the time. But at least with the window, I know. Always create drawing files, create new drawing columns. We're good. Now it's going to add another peg. And now this is where we start to get tricky. This is when we're starting to manipulate a rig that's got rotations. She farted again. Main. This is my life. She just farts. And barks. All right. Did I hit? No, what am I missing? I've got a head main peg here. Okay, then let's call it a chin main peg. Maybe this should have been a chin. Chin. Close. All right, so when we are making changes like this, this is where we kind of want to make sure that we go back and check the rotation, because it's really easy to not go back and check the rotation and then you move forward, but what you don't notice is that things have been moving around in the front views. So we didn't make too many changes to that peg in particularly. Most things were on the deformer when I was rotating the head. So I'm not actually anticipating any movement here, but it's a really good practice to just make sure that you go back and check your things. Our pivot points will be in the same spot, but now the reason why I did this, and I haven't added this piece yet, but I want that, again, I want the Z depth to be there, so I can Alt push it back. I may change to this deformer too, because this looks, that's not right. Let's hide that. Now we got our overlapping line right there, and that looks great. But no, yes, again, like we wanted that Z depth here and not here, and especially what we didn't want is to put Z depth here, make a copy of the peg, and then have it in both places. Again, when you're working with master controllers, it's these kinds of motions that you have to keep track of. And so that's me fixing it and preventing it from, I mean, it wouldn't get totally out of control, but it could easily get out of control if you're not paying attention. So that's the tricky thing about rigging. All right, so there's that. That's done, and I can add that piece right now, actually. Or actually, I won't. I will add a. I will not. I will add a box, and I'll tell myself to do it next week. So add. Since this is the first week back, let's be gentle. let's not push. Add chin line. There we go. So that's for next week. Next week's problems. That's adulting, letting you, like, deciding when you want to deal with your problems. ASAP or in the future. Alright, so that's all good. I can move forward. Activate, activate. we'll keep that root of that ponytail right there. It's a good spot. It looks like it's a good spot. Okay. And I didn't change my my line color back, but you could. This is a nice time to also have. Where's my color palette? Where did I hide it? This is a nice time to not be tracing black on black. Utilize that. Kind of helps. Thanks. Okay, Maybell, you're okay. I'm gonna have to let her out. Please forgive me. I'll be right back. Should probably put that on my thing because that's usually why I have to be right back. Great. Can you sit, Mabel? Sit. No. Hey, sit. Thank you. Thanks for waiting. Okay, can you see her on camera? Can you catch? Ready? Show me trick. Yeah, show me trick. Good girl. Yeah, you're so good. Wow. Oh, that one you missed. It's over here. Wow. That's 4 in a row. Almost. Good girl. Yeah, you're so good. Look at this. Come on. Oh! That one hit your head. Sit. Good girl. That's it. Okay. Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's how it's gonna have to be now. she, she's got she's developed a good catch. She has I don't know if I've said this or not, but she has a kidney disease, so she has to pee often. And there's no waiting. There's just no waiting. So that is just Mabel. A little bit into our life. No, you're done. You're done. Nuh-uh. No. Good try. Good try. No, go lay down. You're done. That was it. And you've had so many. No. No. Yeah, that's right. Go lay down. Let me finish. Go lay down. Um. And I can usually hear her coming because she just drinks so much water and then she has to pee. All right, so we got the head, we got the hair done. All right, I'm gonna try to get through as much of this as I can. Let's power pose here, kind of like yoga. We can do it. We can do it. pull this whole thing forward. All right, so now with this piece right here, because it disappears behind the body, again, we're going to do the same thing that we do with the eyebrow. I'm just going to make the shape smaller. I'm going to kind of squish it in. Doesn't have to look super pretty. Moving it in. Silly question. I love silly questions. Actually, I actually don't believe in such thing as a silly question or a stupid question. I think all questions are wonderful and great, and it's worth saying. I wanted to make a simple rig to warm up, composed of cut up parts of a photograph. Oh, interesting. Okay. Would I be able to bring in PNGs and put deformers on them? Or does it have to be vector? Actually, yeah, you can do that. You can do that. Just make sure you have alphas so that your shape is not like the size of the photo. If you've got like a tiny shape and your photo is this big and you go and cut out that shape, you want to make sure that your alpha is kind of restrained. That way your bounding boxes will be a lot more manageable. That's the only thing that I can think of at this time. But yeah, you can use your deformers. And then the nice things about the newer versions of Harmony is you can use weighted deformers, which we haven't really used here, but I love them. So feel free to use weighted deformers on your pictures. I think that that would work. Don't quote me on that. I haven't tried a weighted deformer on a PNG, but I would go for it. I would definitely give it a shot to see if it works. But yeah, you definitely can do that. And actually, we do that with backgrounds all the time. We throw deformers on PNGs. And I've even created rigs out of that. Like, you use that same idea to create rigs. One rig that I got to kind of work on a little bit was Archie's Next Big Adventure. And so if you take a look at that character, actually he's wearing like a knit sweater really similar to mine. It's just that it's got a big turtleneck, but it's like the same color and the big chunky. You can see all the textures. It was all drawn out by the artist. So, oh, here's something that I haven't really talked about, but I was just making that shape a lot smaller, and maybe I need to not. What did I just do? Here we go. But here I've got a bunch of broken shapes. You can see that my deformer has broken through the outsides. I've squished it too much, so I'll make an adjustment. And again, it's not the end of the world, but let me reset that, put it back into place. Now I'll bring this one back because it'll kind of help prevent all of that moving. You can see it's all broken. And that's what a weighted deformer kind of helps do. It kind of helps like keep that enmeshment on the inside of the shape intact, instead of it breaking out. It's not exactly for that. It's for textures. It will keep your texture intact as an image. I think it would probably still break out the sides, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it behind the character, and I'm also going to pull it back, and then I'm actually going to turn it off. Actually, before I turn it off, I'm going to move it even further, and then I'm going to turn it off. All right. And so here, I'm gonna bring it forward. Looks like I've taken my object off the peg, so I'm just gonna fix that. I want the peg to be, again, I'm moving the peg first, always. And then I'm gonna create the shape that I want. So I might have to create a new drawing for this, but for now, this. Can't see my design. There we go. Profile view is always the one where it gets interesting. Yeah, you can do a lot with deformers. They're very powerful. They have limits, but once you are figuring out those limits, you can do a lot with them. I want to make sure that this is a nice shape. Okay. This I will have to probably create a new drawing for. I think I mentioned this in a previous episode where I was like, oh, maybe I'm doing this wrong. Maybe I do want to make sure that this this piece is in 2 parts. For now, I'll do this. I can always add a cutter when we get there to next week. Okay, now let me just double check that this okay. Let's see how it rotates. Okay, so you can kind of start to see that the collar is taking shape. And it's starting to look like it's shrinking behind the body. That's what we want. I do want to change that one line though. You can see this line getting all crazy. It's getting too long. I didn't affect it too enough. Looks like also this is why we check. It looks like I just moved this peg backwards instead of this peg, which is the problem I was mentioning at the beginning of this, which we always want to make sure that we're not doing. So I'm going to bring that back. I need to bring this drawing back so I can see where it's going. Alright, so I'm going to push it behind the body. And I'm going to make this smaller. Okay. And now there we go. That looks a lot better. All right, so now we got the rotating. It looks like it's going behind the body. It's not perfect. Doesn't have to be perfect. Again, does not need to be perfect. I'll turn that drawing off. Okay, and I'm gonna leave myself a little love note on the collar as well. Did I set? Did I just, whoops, oh, wrong one. Come on. Okay, and the shirt is done. All right, we are at the arms, and we are so close. Let's see. We can do this. We can do this. Activate. All right, so for this one, I want to put I'm going to change it so that I don't want the top of the arm to be too close to the, you can see here it kind of rotates a little bit weird. So I want to make sure that the top of my peg is in the right spot. I'll rotate the rest of my arm to maybe not to kind of match, but I want to make sure that it's in the middle. And then I can move the rest of the arm. Ooh, I kind of wish this cap sleeve was separate now. Oh no, this looks like a mistake. This looks like a mistake in the rig. Okay, this is a mistake in the rig. I'm gonna have to fix this. And I'm not gonna fix it today. Not enough time. I'm gonna leave myself a little note. All right, so we'll fix it next week. We'll do the arms first, and then we'll do the rest of the views. The reason why I'm fixing this is because it's a loose cap sleeve, like this. It's better to have your whole arm free floating so that you can kind of control the arm underneath it. Right now, if the sleeve was like cut into the arm, it wouldn't be a problem because no matter what you do, when you move your upper arm, you want that sleeve to be moving with it. But because it's a big loose one, you can kind of get away with having a little bit of wiggle. In fact, it kind of looks nicer if your arm is moving underneath the big sleeve. So I am going to change that, and it is going to make it a little bit easier for this posing where I am running into some problems because what I can't do is I can't just move this and then have this other part over here, which is like the jointed limb. It's not going to line up. It's going to break. And we did all that work. We don't want that to break. So I am going to change that a little bit, but I'm going to do that first thing next week. And at least that way I won't be tired and I can get into that challenge. So I'll just bring that arm to the back just to have a loose rotation. Fix arm hierarchy, and I'm going to leave that note up here too. fix darn hierarchy. I can't spell hierarchy. Works. That works. That's enough. Alright, so I'll just finish the lower body, and that should be enough for today. Okay. Okay, so our peg out here, that's the main peg. Wait a minute, this is the right peg. I'm like, why is that so off center? Here we go. So we want to make sure that stays in the middle. So we'll bring that leg as close to, I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Okay, looks good. Let's take care of this back leg so it'll be a little bit quicker. So let's go inside the group. Bottom leg, lower leg, shoe, shoe main. Nope, that's the shoe main here. Okay, and now we'll just kind of flip our laces. And I like to, when I do stuff like this, I like to flip the piece as a whole, if that makes sense. Like I think of the whole thing. Like I'm not just ignoring these pieces that are off in the distance. They're not being cut. I don't ignore them. I kind of treat them as they're still there, as much as I try to keep 2D shape as much of a 3D position as possible. So that includes those pieces that you think don't matter, but they do. Okay. All right. That's that back shoe. Now let's do the front shoe. All right. Okay, so this one might be a little bit harder. Because we are doing like a massive sweep, but it's not impossible. You don't have to necessarily rotate the whole shoe, although that is, I guess, one way. We could also like flip the shoe. That is another way, and then remove the flip. Let's see. We can also kind of do this. Just have to make sure that it looks good when, and we'll have this extra little bump that we'll have to take care of. We'll just have to see what that shoe looks like when we go to actually rotate it. Come on, catch. And this will be the last thing that this is the last thing that we have to do, really. So we're almost done. We are almost done. And then that puts us in a good spot for next week. And I want to make sure I don't cut off my laces too far before I can see them. And our pegs are still in the right spot. So let's see how this rotates. So yeah, you can see we'll have to play with the position, but we're not totally done that shape yet. So, but here we can actually rotate our laces, and that gives us almost a 3D rotation, but not quite. I wonder if I could have done that with the other leg or the other shoe. All right, we're gonna put this here. Okay. Let's finish this. Okay. Now let's see how that rotates. And all of it. Let's see how all of it rotates. I'm gonna fix the Z depth in the head, but I did that pop in front actually. Is it the cutter? Woohoo! All right. Looking good. Does that foot look okay? Doesn't look bad. doesn't look awful. Doesn't look that bad. It's pretty good. All right. And again, this is not a master controller rig, so it's fine. If it was a master controller rig, we would go in and add some more keyframes to make that look good. But that works for me. I am happy with that. And I do want to make sure, I don't want to fix that head. Might as well do that now. I wonder if that has to do with the whole head going backwards. What just happened here? Come on, forward. There we go. There we go. Yeah, all right, perfect. And so, yeah, next week we've got a couple drawings to add and edit. Fix the arm. We'll get a little bit more control out of that. It looks like I fixed it in the leg, but I didn't fix it in the arm because I can see the networks changed a little bit. And I do remember changing something, but I don't remember what it was. But yeah, that looks good. And yeah, that's a good place to stop today. And yeah, we have a little bit of a rotate. So pretty cool. See you we'll see you next week. And thank you so much for hanging out, Bass Birdie. I'm not sure who else is in that chat right now, but thank you again. And yeah, have a happy new year. Hope everybody's off to a great start, and I hope everyone was well rested from that big break we all had. Yeah, no problem. Thank you for coming and asking a whole bunch of questions. I love it. Yeah, and also, oh, Bass Birdie, and I did mention at the beginning. Um, Somebody reached out over the break and said that my YouTube channel didn't allow comments because everything was set to kids. So that's changed now. So if you are going back and watching it on YouTube, it should be open now, and you can always leave a comment if there's something there that is confusing. Yeah, all right, sweet. Thank you so much for rigging along, and see you next week.